Ian Graham in the background there waiting in line. He has the hat with the 45 on it. You won't believe how long it took us to get that scene back right with the speed lines as he goes back and animates back. Korea didn't get it, and we kept. I think we outlined it quite well, and it was timed right. We had to keep asking for it. Like no, no, it's what we want in our timing and our boards. Very strange that something like that was so forgotten. There's one of my shots, like one of my additions to the series. Chris Graham couldn't figure out how to make the clock align with the planets. I had to do that weird down shot of the clock. If you look here, this shot, I think if you pause the frame, you can see a vaguely penile shape. That was Chris Graham's addition. He originally made that blob coming out of Zim to be a penis floating through the restaurant. His general idea of storytelling is really cool. Hey, it works pretty well. It's just the layouts and the animation are sort of so-so in this series, or this episode. Bill came back a couple more times. I think they wanted to use him quite a bit more, but never got around to it. This is Battle Dib. This was the last episode of the six pack, and this was the only script I think I ever read in the first season of Zim that I just couldn't get through. I tried to read this script I think 3 times and I couldn't read more than halfway through it. It was an extremely boring script. I finally had to push through it and just say, okay, I'm going to read it. And I was so bored, I just couldn't. I was just there was too much going on in this script. This is one of those scripts where I was like, oh, this is a trouble script, because you have Dib doing all these amazing things, and where I sort of like was getting very exhausted and falling down and getting worn out and unable to work. Kyle Menke picked up the board artist, and boy, he did a wonderful job. He took all that crazy action stuff in the middle of the Shunkwaga battle sequences, and he just made it sing. I've never seen a board artist do that yet to this point, except for Kyle. He took a show that anybody else would have really crapped out, and he made it brilliant. It was a lot of footwork, and it came together really well. But again, by the end of the episode, you can see that everybody was worn out. The final scenes that Sean Murray did in the hallways are just sort of lopped together haphazardly. But the rest is good. This is all Sean's stuff, and Sean's work inside the test area was really good. It was written by Trueheart and Vasquez, and in general, it wasn't that bad of a script. It just very convoluted as an original piece. Boy, we were so happy when the 6-pack was over with. It was a rough time. Everybody got a lot more time on the further 6-pack, or not the further 6-pack, but the further 14 episodes that we had picked up. All those little touches, those are all Jonan's touches, really good. Like where Dib flies into the tube and he hits the edge of the tube and he flies up in, or the suitcase hitting Dib on the head. I believe that's all Jonan's touches. It was good. It has a great character interaction with props. And it's also really fun. Really funny, brutal action. Now, this room is filled up with like 1,000 people taking a test. And you can see how Sean Murray tried to work around it by showing up shots and down shots, only occasionally biting the bullet on a full room shot. Ooh, that's a horrible perspective. These were my idea, I think, for the Gaz floating in like that. I was in the script, but I had her come down and elongate out. I I think although this was just a Dib script, it was actually kind of a nice change. It was kind of good to see Dib and his dad and how everything fits together in this world. Here you go with this action sequence. Kyle just absolutely went nuts with this. There's so many layers and so many really nicely colored backgrounds and props and characters, and well, very complex. I'm surprised that the overseas people could handle it this well. Um, some of the most complex backgrounds and movements, and it's just really a convoluted sequence. Something that you wouldn't even get in a movie generally, an animated movie. You can see occasionally things don't work, like that scene where Shunk's running towards Dib and then he cut the Dib, with the bipack camera coming towards us. You could tell the ground didn't match up with the background. Foreground background didn't match with the background ground. Very complicated staging here because we had these. Not only did you have this complex floor with all these bits and pieces, and then you had a cage over top of it, there were lights and monitors up there outside of this cage. So it was really complex multi-level stuff. And on the monitors, you had scores and you had shots of people doing stuff. I think 3D put in a lot of those monitors in the background. Shunk, I think, was one of those first characters that Jonan saw. I forget if Jonan actually designed him, but I remember when he saw it, he was laughing about it, because the character is just, his head is so fat it can't fit into his outfit, It's fun watching all the detail shots. A lot of people don't do that in animation. A lot of people don't even do it in film, just seeing detail shots. But without those detail shots, I think it would be sort of vague what is going on and how this world all works, and how the equipment works, how everything attaches to these guys. Kyle originally had a few scenes that were cut out of here. I think this one where Dib goes down, he falls down underneath the ground level of these. He was going down, and there was a guy from Return of the Jedi. I can't remember the name, but he's down there operating some. One of these Star Wars characters is operating these controls to get the fire going, and then blows the fire out, and it follows Dib up out of the hole. A lot of Star Wars fans on this series. A lot of Star Wars references in the visuals. Not so much in the writing, though. Jonan really didn't like Star Wars. I don't think he liked referencing it. The music of the series always really helps play the visuals off. Kevin Manthe's music being brilliant for the series, especially in the beginning, probably the first season, first 20 episodes. It's funny, I saw one of these episodes recently at the Ottawa Animation Festival, and they didn't have very good sound in their auditorium, and it really detracted from the show. The show is not only a visual show, it really is a show of sound and visuals. So if you take out the music or you take out the sound effects, it really doesn't help the show. You just can't believe how much the music plays up the dramatics of this show, of this series, and actually helps the humor as well, because we heighten the drama of all this stuff, the humor plays off even better, because the humor is always belittling the situations, the drama is always building up the situation. So that sort of contrast between the humor and the drama really heightens the humor. I don't know if it heightens the drama so much. I think the drama just comes from the basic design and situation of Zim. This is where it really got out of hand. These arachnid suits, I knew we were going to have problems. You can tell it's not as well animated in these sections. There's just too much going on. TV animators animating, on a quick deadline, these 8-legged characters. It's just too much. Ugh. New York hated that these strings come out of their butts. We had such a problem with that. Looks really gross. Really gross designs, really gross ideas. That's the magic of Jonan.